All right, what's next?
All right, next is Hurricane Matthew. Currently a Category 1 off the coast of South Carolina between Charleston and Myrtle Beach.
So they really built that up, didn't they?
They did build it up. I
They
was
did
freaking
that?
out. I have a buddy who lives in Florida somewhere, but I refuse to Facebook stalk him because he sets his Facebook stuff pretty privately, so I refuse to, like, dig because I try to respect his privacy. He'll publish his address if he wants me to know where he lives. And so I pinged him and I was like, "Hey, are you okay? Do you need to come out here to Texas and crash on my couch?" And he was like, "Oh no, so he was safe. Everybody I've talked to in Florida, they've all been safe. But even a hurricane, even a Category 1 does some damage.
Well, yeah, it's true. But I just, like, then the governor just, like, go on TV and said, you are all going to die. Like, leave now. And then it just kind of chilled out in the ocean for a while and then died down. And now it's just kind of raining a lot.
Well, the tough part is, so when you have, we have these models, and if it had come in as a Category 4, it could have been another Katrina. And so when the when the recommendation from science, when science tells us that it could be potentially life-threatening and they order evacuations, they're acting on the assumption that, yes, everybody will die if we don't get them out. So that's why they do evacuations. So the tough part is, if a butterfly would have flapped its wings or farted in Hong Kong, the hurricane might have stayed a Category 4 and did to Florida what it did to Haiti. And that would suck.
Mm-hmm.
But they really did hype the crap out of it.
Yeah, I know. I was actually I was watching the Weather Channel while I was at work, just a little live stream on YouTube, and just seeing what was going on with it. And at first they said it was going to hit Miami and go all the way up the coast, and then I didn't really hear anything about it. The next day it's like, well, it's not here yet, but it'll be hitting northern Florida, and I'm just like, yeah, it's gonna peter out. I mean, thank goodness.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, it's kind of crappy of me, but, I was a little disappointed. I was expecting some big news.
Oh, that's the weird part, right? That's the part of human nature. Like, I want to watch the train wreck.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love Floridians, but it is Florida. Like, it's a big, flat peninsula that doesn't have a very high elevation.
Yep.
It's really, really susceptible to this kind of weather. And
There's the last big one out there was Andrew, right, in 92? That was a bad one.
there's been a couple since, I would imagine. Somebody will let us know in the comments. If you're from Florida or if you know the history of hurricanes, tell us go through it since Hurricane Andrew. Has there been any that hit Florida? I'm sure there have.
So I mean, I don't remember hearing... Andrew might have been 94, because I remember hearing about that.
I was a kid.
I was a child as well.
We lost power for a week, and I grew up just north of New York City. And yeah, we lost power for a week from Hurricane Andrew. One of the wealthiest country in the world, we can't get the power back on in a week. It did a lot of damage.
Yeah. A lot of nasty food.
Yeah.
I was safe in Chicago. Nothing happens there.
Yeah, but Chicago, it gets to be negative 400 or whatever. It gets really cold in Chicago.
Not recently, but that's just with the wind chill, really. Because that wind coming off the lake, oof. They call it the hawk because it feels like it's tearing your face off when you cross the wrong cross street and it just hits you in the face and you're just like, oh, yeah. It's fun times. I miss it though. It's more of a dry cold up there. It's nice. I went up there last winter and it felt great compared to down here where it's just heavy and rainy and windy and it soaks you to the bone. Oof. I was out it was below freezing, but I was out there in, a sweatshirt. It felt really good because the air was really dry because everything had snowed. It was frozen and crystallized. It's nice.
How many toes did you lose being
0.
out there like that?
0 toes.
You
lost.
sure?
Oh.
I haven't counted in a bit.
Okay.
Probably 0.
I wouldn't recommend going out in 0 degrees in a sweatshirt.
Well, it was
Yeah.
below freezing.
Below freezing?
Yeah, so
Oh, okay.
below 0 degrees Celsius, but that's still it was like 30.
Yeah, I could see that. That's about what we did back up in New York, too.
Yeah.
But New York had a real humid winter. It was a real heavy winter, too.
I mean, as long as it snows, it's not that bad.
Yeah. So, yeah, we give a bleep about Hurricane Andrew, or have we just don't give a bleep anymore? Matthew. Why do they name them?
Well, I think it started because they named the newscasters were naming them after their ex-girlfriends and wives and stuff as a joke.
Really?
Yeah, that's actually how it started because they were all women's names, and then the first male hurricane was Hurricane Bob in the 70s, something like that. But they started naming them in the 60s after like ex-girlfriends and stuff.
I mean, I've had some exes, but that's
It's pretty mean.
pretty mean.
It's pretty mean.
I think we'd call that bullying at this point.
Well, I mean, now it's just we just have the naming convention because also it's easier. They deemed it was easier for people to recognize where they were because you can have 2 simultaneous hurricanes going on at once, and so it's easier to kind of tell them apart if you give them a name. And then I know they retire the names if they're really bad. Like we'll never have another Hurricane Katrina because that's
Right.
gone.
Or Andrew.
Or Andrew is retired.
Or Sandy.
Oh, Sandy. Yeah, that's right.
Hurricane John was the farthest traveling hurricane ever. I
You
actually,
spent a lot of time on Wikipedia.
I looked that up the other day. Yeah, I traveled from like Mexico, like all the way like halfway across the Pacific Ocean.
Huh.
Wow.
It was pretty. I didn't hit anything. I did no damage. we just stayed in the ocean and chilled for a bit. It was nice.
I like how you go from I to we, like as you realize that you're
That I'm
like, well, I didn't-
personifying myself as a hurricane.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you're kind of your personality. You're a bit of a hurricane.
I'm a hurricane roaring through the lives of others. That's big book quote.
There you go.
Oh, it's a tornado, but
Well, okay.
tornado roaring through the lives of others. It's something in I guess I haven't brought this up yet, but
No.
I am in recovery. I'm a member of the rooms of 12-step fellowships and stuff like that. So that's part of it. It's kind of describes the life of a drug addict or alcoholic in their cups as a tornado roaring through the lives of others.
Huh.
So
That's a good descriptor.
yeah.
That is a good descriptor. All right.
All right.
So we all give a bleep.
we give a bleep.
I'd say I do. It could still pick up Nicole. Because Hurricane Nicole is right next to it.
There's
Still.
another hurricane out there?
Yeah, it's out a little farther in the Atlantic. But they were postulating that once Matthew gets done on his run on the coast, he's going to loop back around and then combine with Nicole and then come back.
Or the wind shear just cancels them both out.
It's
It's one or the other.
Yeah, one or the other.
That's terrifying. Normal.
Hey.
Why don't you pick up... Well,
Not yet.
all right.